URC final this weekend, folks. It's a Friday game, which is an unusual one. Croke Park, Bulls up against Leinster. It's a repeat of last year's final. Will the Bulls finally get their hands on this trophy after numerous losing finals, or will Leinster be the first team in URC history to go back to back? The lineups are out. We'll go through them, some of the predictions, the stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how you reckon the game is going to go this Friday after having a week off. It was an unusual one. I don't know that I've ever encountered that. I just assumed the final was going to be last week. Quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals. But it seemed like Leinster were pretty happy to get a break because they've had a lot of rugby in recent times with the Champions Cup and URC campaigns. Bulls gave them a chance to fly back down to South Africa after the win over Glasgow and then come back up north for the final. But it's just, the week off caught me a little bit by surprise. It was an unusual one, but hopefully it means everyone is fit and rearing to go. Now, for Leinster, one man who's not fit and ready to go is Andrew Porter. Unfortunately, he's going to miss out through injury. And the scrum is honestly going to be the main kind of talking point, I feel like, if you're a Leinster fan. I mean, your team finished second overall, but you probably didn't have the second best scrum. The best scrums have probably been, I guess, like the Stormers and the Bulls. So, yeah, Jerry Kerr, like, goodness me. What a 2025, 2026 season it has been for that man. Wasn't he like working for Vodafone not that long ago? He's been in like Champions Cup knockout rugby, and now he's starting in a URC final up against some pretty big South African bodies. He's going to need to have a good game. He's coming into the team as your starting loose head prop alongside, Irish veterans Ronan Kelleher and Tyke Furlong. How well they hold up, even just parity, I think is fine. Parity at scrum time will do Leinster. That'll allow them to express themselves in other ways. They've got a big couple of boppers in the second row in terms of, Joe McCarthy and James Ryan. So these guys will do their level best to try and give the front rowers a bit more extra oomph. But yeah, scrum time is going to be a big, big test. You always got to love the Leinster back row. They are chock full of talent. I mean, Max Deegan, Josh van der Fleer, Caelan Doris, Captain Fantastic is going to carry the house down, 21 carries and beat 6 defenders in the semi-final against the Stormers. It's just kind of a standard day at the office for that man. Josh will be all over the breakdown and possibly the top tackle count guy. And Max Deegan just quietly, I think, had a pretty good year, away from international duties. So he's had a bit more URC work to bear on his shoulders. He's been great at disrupting line-out time. He's often been Leinster's best player in those less kind of fancied weeks when it's, I don't know, somewhere on the road that's not going to get the spotlight like a kind of a Champions Cup game. I think he's been having a pretty good year from what I've seen of him. Gibson Park and Prendergast are the 9-10, so that's steady as she goes. Gibson Park was getting himself into some space in that last game against the Stormers. He'll be looking to do the same thing, keep the ball moving quickly. And Prendergast, I think he's been kicking at 80% this URC season, so he'll need to kick his goals, one would feel, if they do opt for him, or at least drill him into the corner to get the forwards as close as possible if the Bulls concede penalties. Osborne and Rico in the midfield. Obviously, I'm still a Blues fan. I still want Rico to have a fantastic outing. I would love to see Rico score a winning try in a URC final. I think it'd be a fitting send-off for him after his season. But yeah, we'll see how he goes. He was sharp in the last game, so more of the same from Rico. Tommy O'Brien comes in on the right wing. I do like his no fear, very direct ball carries. I think he's like more physical than he looks. For a guy with his stature, he gets some good go forward. And James Lowe, final game for Leinster on that left wing before he heads off to Japan. Hugo Keenan, usually safe as houses there at full back. It was Lowe, Gibson Park, and Rico getting the line breaks in that semi-final against the Stormers. So possibly more of the same. Dan Sheehan's back on the bench. That's a bit of good news in terms of being able to bring like one of the world's best hookers off the bench as kind of a super sub. Usanoff and Clarkson are your prop replacements. Mangan, Conan, and then 3 backs in McGrath, Byrne, and Ringrose. So yeah, a few guys playing their last games for Leinster. They would love to go out on a high. Honestly, they need a scrum. They need to scrum. That's going to be key. The Bulls need to dominate the scrum. That's going to be half the way to victory, I feel like, for the Bulls. If there's a bit of drop ball and they can win penalties at scrum time, they will be well on their way to being in a very competitive position. Steenekamp, Grobbelaar, and Klopper. A couple of those guys scored tries in the semi-finals. I mean, Grobbelaar's had like 10 throughout the season, including one in the semi. Klopper's not quite as prolific, but he did get one against Glasgow as well, as the forwards went to work for Mark and Nokia in the second row. I still love Nokia. I know we got a yellow card in the last game, but I think he's adding that extra little bit of depth to the South African locking stocks. I know he doesn't get the same headlines as the likes of an Etzebeth or, Diaco when he's on form, or Snyman with the offloading game, but Nokia is such a workhorse. I love his work around the park. Marcel Coetzee will be tackling and turnovering throughout the game, to be sure. And then Cameron Honeycomb alongside Elric Lowe. That's a very good back row. It's like Honeycomb up against Doris. That's worth the price of admission. Doris had 6 defenders beaten in his semi. Honeycomb had 5 in his. Both these guys, very, very physical, direct ball carriers. Papier and Pollard, the 9-10. Geez, Papier's having a season like him. Gibson Park up against Papier. I know Gibson Park's got the bigger international reputation, but Papier's having maybe his best season ever. Dude's got 12 tries and another one in the semi-final as well. Yeah, Embrus Papier certainly a man to watch. Andre Pollard, goal kicking has not been as accurate as he would like. I think he's in the 70s this year for the URC. Certainly missed a few kicks which could have made it more comfortable in the semi-final a couple of weeks ago. But if there's a man to kick all his goals in a final, you feel like it's probably Andre Pollard. Forster and Moody in the midfield. Jacobs, Aronsa, and LaRue in the back three. You certainly can't sleep on those guys. There's Springboks and wider, kind of close to Springboks guys all throughout this Bulls lineup. But I do feel like is it too simple just to say it boils down to the scrum? It'll be a multitude of factors, but the scrum's going to be so important. Van Staden, Wessels, and Lowe on the bench. That's a pretty good looking front row 3 replacements to be able to bring off, whether Van Staden plays loose forward or whether they bring him on a hooker. Maybe Grobbelaar does the 80 like he's done many a time. Visa, Rudolph, and Carr, the other forward replacements, just the 2 backs with Berger and Hans. Yeah, man, this looks to be a really, really tasty game. Some stats, they're honestly so even throughout these teams. The Bulls have had a few more tries. The Leinster offload a bit more. Leinster have had more clean breaks, but the Bulls have had more run meters. The Bulls scrum wins a lot more penalties than the Leinster one does, but the Leinster guys steal more line-out ball than the Bulls guys. There's a lot to like about it, man. It's second against fourth. Both had, different experiences in their semi-finals. Leinster went out to an early lead. The Stormers pushed back, couldn't quite get back within touching distance. The Bulls guys had to come from behind. They both had a week off. Back in round 2, the Bulls did get this one done down at Loftus. It was 39 points to 31, but virtually, like the Leinster lineup's almost unrecognizable, and the Bulls lineup was very different as well. I think it was only Prendergast and Tommy O'Brien that played in that game for Leinster from the starting 15s, and it was only about 6 of the Bulls guys, so very, very different. Not sure how much we can read into that. Who's the favourites? Well, I'm wearing the Bulls gear because they are the underdogs. It's underdog for the preview, winner for the review. Leinster by 7 with the Rugby Forecast algorithm, and by 5 with the bookies. Is it on a Croke Park? There's a heap of tickets left for that one. I think the cheap ones are like 20 euros, and then it goes upwards from there. So the crowd will be interesting because the semi was like 15k for Leinster up against the Stormers. So they'll be looking to get some good numbers in there, but 7:30 on a Friday, yeah, it's an unusual one. That's 6:30 in the morning on Saturday for me, so I'm not complaining about that. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts. Bulls to get their first URC title, or will it be Leinster to do the double? You guys let us know what you reckon. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See ya.